What's going on, guys? We are back, and we've got the Chant of Daya deck analysis here. Now, as soon as let me see if we can reset the deck. Yes. Okay, you'll see that I have 32 cards unlocked, which means the promo stuff's out. So you should check out my promo video about how to unlock it if you don't know. There's a link in that video to the forum page where all of the stuff is. But until then, or until you check that out, we'll go ahead and go over this deck analysis. There'll be more cards unlocked once more conventions happen, but until then, we just have to deal with what we have here. So, beginning with the deck is very, very expensive. As you can see that we have every card in here, and there's 21 cards that cost over 6. It is a very expensive deck, and with that being said, you want to run as many lands as possible. I'm going to say 25 is a very solid number, keeping the Eye of Ugin in here, but unfortunately the Eye of Ugin doesn't really count as one, but at the same time it does because things later definitely affect it. With any deck that you're playing multiple lands a turn, Scoop Mob can get very out of control. As you can see, they just start to mass the countryside. So Scoop Mobs are sick. They're very enjoyable. You want them. I do not like Exploration for the simple fact that if it starts in your opening 7 with 3 lands, okay, you're going to play a land, you're going to play Exploration, you're going to play a land. You're going to untap, you're going to play a land, you're going to be out of lands. Like, it doesn't help you that much. So it's just a wasted card unless you get like a sick Oracle of Maldaya set up like on the top of your library, like 4 lands in a row, then it's good. But Green Sun Zenith I'm not a fan of, just because you have so many cards in this deck that are strong. I just don't have the way to play that card. Vastwood Hydra's fun, but like most other Hydras, it's not good. The Kalani Heart Expedition, I'm going to run 3 of. They're really stupid when you get them in multiples, but if you draw them too late in the game, they're bad, because you have to wait for them to set up, and if they start your opening hand and you don't have the lands for them, they're bad. So I want 3, I think is a solid number there. Tangle is just not a good card. I mean, it's a fog 2 turns in a row, but you don't need to worry about that. Your creatures are huge, and you have life gain and other stuff like that. I'm playing Explore because here's my feelings on it. You pay 2 mana, you play an additional land, you draw a card. It's take an extra turn, skip your attack step and your untap step. That seems pretty good to me. Now I'm playing these over Rampant Growths because this replaces itself in the hand and accelerates you in the best circumstances. And if you draw it late in the game, it's not a wasted card. Whereas if you draw Rampant Growth, turn 2 is good, turn 6 is good, turn 10 to 12 where you're probably going to be at because this deck is not fast, and it's not going to lose fast, it's not a fast deck. You're going to just have this Rampant Growth in your hand that doesn't do anything. I don't know what I feel about these guys. I think I'm going to leave 3 in here for now. They let you get life, and they're good chump blockers, but these guys are better chump blockers, and these are my replacements for the Rampant Growth because they're at least a body. The Fierce Empath I'm not a fan of. He does let you search for your big mana cost creatures, but if you can't play them, then he's just sitting there doing nothing. I'm not a fan of Rites of Flourishing because it lets your opponent accelerate as much as you, or almost as much as you, but it lets them draw the card before you, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like, if you're playing the Fogs, it might be a good idea, but at the same time, like, it's not a Turbo Fog deck. That's not the point of the deck. So, I'm not playing the Rites. Vengevine is a sick card, and he makes the late game Farhaven Elves and glazing, raising glade hearts, even better. If you can drop 2 creatures in turn, which you probably will be able to, he helps out. But you have to cast 2 creature spells. You can't reanimate a creature. It actually has to be, I played a creature from my hand, I played a creature from my hand. But you can just hold creatures in your hand until you get 2 to bring back the Vengefine. Oracle of Daya is amazing. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, play with the top card of your library revealed, and you may play the top card of your library if it's a land. It basically guarantees that you don't draw lands. She's going to die. They're pretty much everything, but if they waste kill cards on that, you're set. Elvish Piper I feel like is a little too slow. You don't need her. She's good. And if you're having a hard time dropping your big guys, you might want to play her. But I found that if I can hit 4 mana, I can hit 10. Easily. Like, this might get you your turn 5 guy if it doesn't die instantly. Which again, like we said that, you know, it's okay for them to waste kill cards on something like this, but if this is your plan to get your big guy into play, it's not a good one. You know, if it dies, then you're in trouble. I'm not running Into the Wild because it's only beginning of your upkeep. The Oracle is just straight up better. This is a card that I've been debating on whether or not to play. As long as you control 8 or more lands, he gets +4/+4 and has trample. He's big, he's scary, he does stupid stuff. And he's cheap. He's only 5 mana compared to everything else in the deck. So I really think I want him in there. But I don't know if I can keep him in there yet. Spore Mound. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token onto the battlefield. Just not worth it. They don't get big enough. You don't have any way to make them bigger, so I'm not running them. Plow Under. In most decks, this is going to be great. Against most matchups, it's going to be sick. But almost every deck that plays 2 colors, which is where this is going to be best at, plays a way to shuffle. I've noticed that. So I don't know if I want to waste the card in my hand with a Plow Under. Like, it's going to set your opponent back unless they shuffle. And I mean, you can hit it fast. I mean, you can get this thing off like turn 3 or turn 4. But I'd rather play a dude there, like this guy, or the Oracle, and actually have a presence on the field. So I don't think I'm going to run the Plow Under. Because we also have a lot of cards still to go through, and there's a lot that are up here. Bountiful Harvest is absolutely worthless. Worst card ever printed, period. Don't play it. I don't mean to be so mean about it, but it's an awful card. When you can pay white and green and gain 7 life, why pay 5 to gain 5? Or, I mean, you could gain 10 off of it, but still, 5 for 10 or 2 for 7. Just not good to me. Primeval Titans are an absolute must-play. They thin your deck. They're amazing. They're broken. There's a reason that they were like $50 when they were out. There's a reason they were like $35 when they got reprinted when they were out. So, I play the Primeval Titans. Vigor is scary. He makes it so that your Oracle of Daya and your Farhaven Elves and everything else get really stupid really fast. Summoning Trap, I'm not a fan of. It does some stupid things, but it can also whiff, and that's bad. I don't like relying on this card could whiff. I played Junk Rights in Standard. If you don't know what Junk Rights is, it revolves around mulching and grizzly salvaging yourself. So you remove 4 cards from your library and put them in your graveyard. You remove 5 cards from your library and put them in your graveyard. And bring things back with Unburial Rights. But if you whiff on those and you don't hit an Unburial Rights, or you don't hit a creature to bring back with one, it's just loses your entire game. Like, you don't play with the cards in your hand, you play with the cards on the top of your library and putting them into your yard. Whereas this doesn't revolve around your hand either. Paleka Worm is scary, but I don't think we need 3 of them. 2 of them should be more than enough. Tooth and Nail is super broken. Search your library for up to 2 cards, or 2 creature cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your library, or put 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, entwine. So if you pay 9 mana, you search your library for 2 creature cards. Let's just say It the Betrays and Pathanzer of Ulamog, and you put them directly into play. Little stupid. All His Dust is sick. Sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. You have a lot of permanents that aren't colored, so it works out really well. Terrastodon, I don't think we need all of the Terrastodons. Like, they're sick, but they're really kind of like a situational card. They're not going to win you the game. I also don't like blowing up my own lands, especially when we're trying to hit higher than 8. So I don't think I'm going to run the Terrastodons. You can, especially if you're having problems with enchantments or anything that your opponent has on their field. Just keep in mind that if you blow up 2 things on your opponent's field, you should blow up 1 thing on yours, because then you're able to block. If you don't, they're getting through with 6 damage if Terrastodon's the only thing out there. So, I'm not a fan of Terrastodon. That being said, I'm not a fan of Ulamog's Crutcher because I don't like the inconsistency of I have to do this. So he has to attack each turn if able. Does not work well for me. The Eldrazi conscripts are amazing. So they make scoop mobs and the early game creatures ridiculous. You get some Annihilator, Trample, and dumb stupid stuff like that. Artisan brings back creature cards from your graveyard. Keep in mind that if you reanimate it or summon it with Summoning Trap, it does not trigger the cast on it. It actually has to physically be cast from your hand. Pathanzer of Ulamog is scary. He's huge. He has to be blocked by 3 creatures, and he's got Annihilator 3. So I'm running him. And It the Betrays is absolutely amazing. When an opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or a non-token permanent, that put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So they sacrifice 3 lands, you gain 3 lands, and all of your landfall triggers trigger. So we've got 1 too many cards. What don't we want in the deck? Should probably be relatively an easy choice here. I really am thinking the Glazing Gladeheart going down to 2 of those, just because they're not a threat. They do help you early on, but they're not a threat. So, that being said, we've got our 60 cards in the deck, 25 lands, and I mean, obviously our lands are, you know, if we can hit 5 or 6, we should be fine. So I feel like 25 is a good number. So let's go ahead and go through it. We got 1 Eye of Ugin, 1 Scoop Mob, 3 Kalani Heart Expeditions, 4 Explorers, 2 Glazing Gladehearts. I've mispronounced that every single time I've said it tonight. 4 Farhaven Elf, 1 Vengevine, 3 Oracles of Daya, 2 Wardborn Behemoths, 2 Primeval Titans, 1 Vigor, 1 Avenger of Zendikar, 2 Peleka Worms, 1 Tooth and Nail, 2 All Is Dust, 2 Eldrazi Conscripts, 2 Artisan of Kozilek, 1 Pathanzer of Ulamog, and 1 It the Betrays. Now, if you don't have all the cards that are in here, keep in mind that there are 32 cards unlocked at this time. So there are 2 cards that actually have to be entered in with the promo code. So if you don't have those, like the Avenger of Zendikar, keep in mind that that has to be unlocked via a code. But let me know what you guys think of the deck. Let me know what changes you'd make. And once all the promos are done, we'll be back with a full deck analysis of all of it. But until then, this is what we have. So thanks for watching, guys. See you later.